Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day, Wednesday edition of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Baldur's Gate 3 players might need to do this to keep their game from crashing on the PlayStation 5. We're also going to be talking about Activision was briefed on Nintendo Switch 2 last year. And then we're also going to be talking about Phil Spencer addresses massive Xbox leak. He will share the real plans when they are ready. So those are the three things that we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about yesterday, because Phil Spencer said that his highlight of his career would be buying Nintendo, and then people coming out and saying, well, Microsoft can't buy Nintendo because they're in Japan, doesn't know what they're talking about. I said yesterday a little bit, I was like, I don't think they're part of the list, and now I can confirm they're not part of the list. So in 2020, they made the list. They announced 518 companies. Since then, it expanded to, I think, over 1,300 companies in Japan. And they're all part of technological stuff, military things that are proprietary or what they have for the technology of them. Nintendo does not fall in that category because Nintendo is just making video games. They're not making other things per se, like Sony, where they're making television sets and microprocessors and all these other things. You know what I mean? Like other chips. They're not making microprocessors. Let me take that back. But you know what I'm saying? They're not part of that list of companies that are not for sale. And they are still for sale. They can only own like 1% or 14%. It all depends on what the offer is. So those are not off the list. They're just harder to sell or buy, I should say, for the people that are interested in those companies. So let's start off with Baldur's Gate. All right, morning, Silent Warrior, Jesse Mack, and Boo. Let's talk about Baldur's Gate. Now, Baldur's Gate 3 players might need to do this to keep their game from crashing on the PlayStation 5. Now, Larian Studios developers inform the PlayStation 5 users who want to play Baldur's Gate 3 on the PlayStation 5 might need to do this to keep their game from crashing. So apparently there's a lot of crashing issues that are happening over on PlayStation 5. Now, a lot of people will probably be like, well, I'm not getting crashes, right? Well, there are crashes, and we're just reading the news. So, reportedly, some PlayStation 5 players have encountered frustrating crashes while immersing themselves in the world of Baldur's Gate 3. The issue seems to be related to the network problem, leaving both players and developers on Baldur's Gate 3 puzzled. While the development team works to bring quick solution to the problem, they are suggesting a temporary solution to address the issues. Now, Baldur's Gate 3 received high praise from the critics and eager fans upon the debut. However, it seems that not even the most renowned titles are immune to technical problems. Shocker. As not all players have been able to fully enjoy the game to these troublesome crashes on the PlayStation 5 platform. Since its launch, including the early access phase, Baldur's Gate 3 has experienced some performance issues on the Steam Deck, as well as various glitches and other problems. However, the developer of Larian Studios wasted no time to addressing the issues, and I think that's the main point to this, right? It's not denying that they are having issues. They're responding to it, right? Through the official Baldur's Gate 3 Twitter account, it has been announced that the sudden crashes faced by PlayStation 5 players could due to PlayStation-related issues. Now, the development team, is Larian Studios throwing PlayStation Network underneath the bus? The development team behind Baldur's Gate 3 is fully aware of the situation and properly launches an investigation into the matter. While they worked to identify the root cause of PlayStation 5 crashes, they also provided players with temporary workarounds to keep the game running smoothly. Larian Studios recommends that the solution given by the developers is to disconnect the PlayStation 5 from the internet. This step may seem unconventional, but it appears to mitigate the crash issues, allowing players to continue their adventures in the world of Baldur's Gate 3 uninterrupted. Okay. As the development team works to resolve the PlayStation 5 crashes problem, players can rest assured that their feedback is important to ensuring Baldur's Gate 3 delivers the exceptional gaming experience they anticipated, as the studio has demonstrated previously by addressing many of the other issues with a new patch. In the meantime, disconnecting from the internet may be key to avoiding those frustrating crashes and enjoying adventures that await in the game. Is it true that while doing this, players will also have to forego the possibility of playing online, which is typically crucial in the CRPG and immune to D&E experience? However, this doesn't eliminate the option of enjoying a local cooperative mode without requiring the internet connection to progress. That's nice. You can still play locally connection to progress through the campaign. Despite the initial technical challenges and those that have arisen subsequently, such as the one on PlayStation 5, the game captivating storytelling and immersive world make it worthwhile for players to continue playing. Baldur's Gate 3 is a local co-op and alone on the adventure. So there you go. If you are one of the people, or you are a few of the people that are out there having PlayStation 5 issues with your Baldur's Gate 3, your issue would be disconnected from the internet until Lorien Studios can make the change with that. I don't get it, so it doesn't happen. That's how it works, right? That's right, Travis. A network problem. So those who play solo don't have that problem. No, not true. The people that are playing solo, Enbu, because they're attached to the internet, okay? Because they're attached to the internet, their game is crashing, regardless if they're playing online or not. They're just saying that they don't know what the issue is yet, but they hunted it down to where it's an online connection issue. Meaning, even though you're playing solo, the internet is still crashing the game. So this is why they're like, hey, you need to disconnect. You need to disconnect the internet for it. So it is kind of strange. It is kind of strange, but it's happening. Hence why I'm reading it for people that might be out there going, man, I bought Baldur's Gate 3 for the PlayStation 5 and it keeps crashing on me. I don't know why, right? This is a thing. The devs don't know what they're talking about. My game hasn't crashed. That's right, Silent Warrior. Dave Rose says, yeah, in Travis's world, yes, if it doesn't affect him or his friends. That's right. Or if he wrote a thesis on it. So yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 obviously continuing. And the other news about Baldur's Gate 3, we might as well just run into that, right? Is that when Phil Spencer, there's people, I don't even have a news story for this. This is just what I read on Twitter today and yesterday, right? The internet is just a cesspool of people that don't know anything about nothing, right? And I'm not saying I know everything about anything, but a little research does go a long way. They don't look at timelines. They don't look at dates. They don't look at anything. So they said that Phil Spencer said it was a second-hand game and whatnot, and that's not what he was representing for Baldur's Gate 3. Back in 2020, the game was supposed to come out for Stadia first, and then it was supposed to come out afterwards for other consoles. So when they say second, I forget what the actual term that he used. He was talking about that. And then on top of that, this is 2020. In 2020, nobody knew Baldur's Gate 3, okay, was going to be a hit. Hell, even Lorien Studios thought they were only going to sell 100,000 units for consecutive players, and they had 800,000 consecutive. So they didn't even know their game was supposed to be a smash hit like this, right? So what people like to do is they like to run with a narrative of certain things that, oh, he thought Redfall, and even in quotes in the email that we read yesterday, he said hopefully Redfall would be good, right? And this was back in 2020 before, and that kind of bears in because you know that Phil Spencer even said that we didn't give them, he didn't know because according to his actual words in the interview, they weren't hands-on with the company, so he didn't know. They were depending on Arcane, or not Arcane, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's an Arcane, right? Arcane Studios. My brain just shut off there. When I said Arcane, I thought about the television series on Netflix. It's Arcane, right? It's Arcane Studios from Texas. Chat, help me out here. My brain is yes, Redfall was Arcane. Thank you, Travis. Right? So they said that Arcane was hands off when they picked it up. And back in 2020, okay, they didn't own Bethesda yet. Do you know what I mean? They didn't own Bethesda yet. So it's funny to me that they're like, well, see, he thought Redfall was going to be good and it was shit, and he thought Baldur's Gate was going to be bad and it was good. And that's not how it worked at all, right? But that's the narrative people like to go about on the internet. Dolphin says yes, and now Xbox is apparently going to crash and burn and fail. Yeah. So it's just weird to me because taking context of what's said is very important for a lot of things, right? When you read just the title of certain things and nothing below the title, hell, I'll be honest, I don't think most people read the entire title. They just read up to the point where they see something, right? And that's it. They don't read anything past, right? I think if you look at this title, I think most people read this and go, Baldur's Gate 3 players crash on PlayStation 5, right? They don't look at They only pick and choose what they want to read to make it, the thing that they want to talk about. This is why we read the news and we actually try to break down what the actual people are saying. All right. So obviously, Phil Spencer can't be like me, where he's telling the future, right? He can't read the future like me. He can't be as talented as me, a guy who's got very few people watching him on the internet and predicts the future. He can't be like that, right? So in 2020, he didn't know Redfall was going to be crap. In 2020, he didn't know Baldur's Gate 3 was going to be successful the way it is, right? That's just the way it rolls. But hindsight, looking back and being, what an idiot. He told, right? This is why Baldur's Gate 3 was going to be 5 million, right? Now, because Baldur's Gate 3 is very successful, you think they're going to get 5 million from Xbox to get on Game Pass? No, they're going to raise that price up, right? And on top of that, let's go to the next story, right? Let's go to the next story where Phil Spencer addresses massive Xbox leak, and he will share the real plans when we are ready. Now, I said this a little bit yesterday, right? The leaked documents that we saw, sure, we get to see behind the curtain. We get to see the stuff that's going behind the scenes, and everyone tries to make or break what's happening and what's going to do. But everything that's leaked, again, was from 2020, meaning things changed, because in 2020, they had that little box, the Keystone, okay? They had the Keystone, and we do know that Keystone doesn't exist anymore, or they put it on the shelf for a bit, literally on the shelf. It's behind Phil Spencer's head in his interviews, right? And they're not doing anything with it as of right now that we know of, because we're not privy to the information. And I don't think we should be privy to that information, because it is what it is. So all the stuff that we saw, sure. Were they interested in buying Nintendo? Sure, 100%. Were they interested in buying Valve? Yeah, sure, 100%. But that's 3 years ago. I don't know about you, but my plans change weekly. Like if I want to go somewhere this weekend and something comes up, we got to change plans. Right? So what do you think a business does when something goes on and it doesn't go according to plan, and now something leaks, which is then even worse? Okay. Yeah, what leak? Exactly, Jesse. Right? 76 says they read the point that validates their feelings. Exactly right. Let's be fair. Wouldn't they do much outside of fine if somebody is losing their job? I thought this memo was interesting when he said the real truth. Yeah, we're going to read it in just a second, Dolphin. Travis says, wait, you mean you weren't overseeing everything when you ran the multi-billion-dollar company? Like, who on earth would believe that? Right. Right. My plans change daily, man. So when a thing gets leaked, they're like, oh, yeah, we have... I mean, look at what happened. This is all before, right? This is all before the world shut down, by the way. Right? The emails and stuff that went out is before the world shut down. Before everything got delayed, right? All of Bethesda got delayed, right? Everything moved 2 years, right? Starfield was supposed to come out in 2021, and then it got pushed to 2022, which then got pushed to 2023. Everything got pushed by 2 years, okay? You look at other people on the internet saying, well, out of all the leaks that are coming from Microsoft, nothing was talked about by Halo. And it's like, oh boy, you weren't paying attention, because all the stuff that was happening was from the FTC, and all the stuff that was privy to the FTC was the stuff that was happening with Bethesda and Activision and Microsoft within the last couple of years, okay? So nothing would leak about Halo or the plans about Halo, because that wasn't part of the conversation when they were talking about taking over businesses and they brought up Bethesda. 343 has been with the company for a decade, for God's sakes. Okay? So that's why Halo wasn't brought up in the conversation at all yesterday with the leaks. You didn't see anything else from Xbox Studios in the leaks. You only saw Bethesda stuff from the leaks. So again, the narrative that people are talking about is, oh, well, they didn't talk about Halo. Well, we didn't talk about your brain cells either. They're probably going to asset what people like, keep that, and probably scrap and change the things that people didn't like. Sure. Nintendo will join Xbox, and Nintendo are doing their own thing right now. Well, again, back in 2020, okay, back in 2020 when they were talking about making offers, right? And again, we've talked about this all the time. All companies have a price. All companies have a price. Every person on this planet has a price, right? They hit that price, you're going to sell, okay? To say that Nintendo is not going to sell or they would never sell is absurd, right? We had the same conversation years ago when I actually made a decision and said Activision could be bought. And there was like, no way Activision will get bought. It's like, it could happen, right? It could happen. Anybody at any time can get bought as long as they hit their price, right? So Nintendo could get purchased. Why would they, though? They don't need to, okay? They're very profitable. They're sitting on a lot of cash, okay? They're one of the most successful gaming companies ever in the history of games. And during 2020 is when they got that influx of popularity because the Nintendo Switch exploded, okay, because everyone was stuck at home. And Animal Crossing came out, and it sold like 20 million units or 30 million units, whatever it was, right? So, again, 2023 is a big difference from 2022, which is a big difference from 2020. Travis says, I find it hard to believe that Nintendo would ever sell out to anyone. They're the second place in the consoles that's on par with two gens ago. Nintendo is untouchable. I mean, technically they're number one because of first-party titles and the amount of copies they sell. Publicly trading company is much easier to buy than a private one. I don't even like Animal Crossing, and they recognize COVID helped it. Oh, sure. Everything helped it. Mobile gaming, because you got to think back then. Everyone's stuck in the house, and I only have one kid. But I can imagine having like 3 kids or 4 kids, and no one could leave, and they probably get on each other's nerves. So they would probably want to get their own Switch so they could be in their own room, and everyone's just shut up because a lot of people that are parents just hand over devices to make their kids happy for that moment, right? Well, there's a lot of stress going on in 2020, right? People are working at home. There's dynamics that never happened before. Kids weren't going to school. There's a bunch of stuff, and they're like, yeah. Here's a Nintendo Switch. Why would they sell? They would sell because they hit a point, and the money that is being offered to them is like what's the word? Like you just wouldn't deny it. You're just like, yeah, okay, we'll sell. It all depends what the deal is, right? Just because Microsoft, if they did buy Nintendo, doesn't mean they would take Nintendo over and run the business for them. They would probably just still be Nintendo. But now they would be intertwined with each other, right? Sort of like when Activision gets bought out, Activision's still doing Activision things. Bethesda's still doing Bethesda things. Almost 500 hours in that damn game. There you go. I don't know if that amount exists. That would be more than they could make on their own. What do you Travis, you're literally just saying stuff. Like, there's evaluations what a company's worth. And no matter what that evaluation is, let's say it's $150 billion, just to throw it out there. Microsoft goes, here's a couple extra dollars. Keep it for you. Right? I don't think you understand the amount of money that Microsoft makes and what cash flow is and what Apple makes and what Amazon makes, right? Well, Apple and Microsoft they have cash money, which is different than credit and value. I'm curious to know how the Japanese business culture would affect Microsoft's ability to negotiate a deal. In what way, Ghost? In what way? I'm saying that Nintendo makes so much money on their own. Don't you think they would sell out for anything less than 8 trillion? That's not even that's not what they're valued at. That's not what they're valued at. Let's see. How much is Nintendo worth? Yeah, the market cap is 8.14 trillion. 8.14 trillion. That's a big number. Yeah. So let's see. Here's the number, though. This is the net worth, right? Nintendo's net worth is 55.43 billion. Okay. 55.43 billion is what they're worth. Okay. Microsoft net worth. What is Microsoft's net worth? That's 2.4 trillion, I believe, is what that is in the US, right? Let me say that's billion. That's the market cap for the computer. That's not them. Hold on one second. What's Microsoft worth? Microsoft in 2020, yeah, 2 trillion. No, that was correct. 2 trillion, right? So Nintendo's worth 55 billion and Microsoft's worth 2 trillion. Now, I'll let you guys do the math. If my conversation is working, then their shares are sitting at $6 per share. There you go. Wasn't the email before Microsoft bought Bethesda and Activision? People are running with it, but don't see that they're trying to buy Nintendo anymore. Right. Well, not to say they're not trying to actively buy Nintendo right now. I said yesterday, Kylo, I don't think they try to buy them, right? He says they're doing the long game. And they've already made, right? Because from what the emails were in 2020 to the present day now that we know, right? I still haven't read what Phil Spencer said in his thing yet. But what he said now, or what they're doing now, is they've already made contracts for 10 years with Nintendo, right? Knowing that the next Nintendo Switch is coming out with Activision, they're making the 10-year deal and whatnot. I said that they would probably put Game Pass on Nintendo at some point because that opens up the door for Nintendo to have more people. Oh, okay. Well, we'll partner up with Xbox. And again, this is my thoughts, not what's actually happening, right? And then they'll bring the Game Pass onto the mobile device for Nintendo. That way, Xbox gets more people on Game Pass, Nintendo gets more people buying Switches or whatnot. That 100% I can see happening, right? I don't see Xbox buying Nintendo in any shape, way, or form in the next decade, right? In the next decade. If Nintendo says yes, they could not, without Nintendo agreement, they would have an American branch. No, they don't even have to. Nintendo is not protected, okay, in the Japanese list of companies that they're harder to buy, that outside investors can't come in and purchase it. Nintendo is not on that list, okay? So people that saw that list, which was also made in 2020, right? There was an article out there that said that that these companies at the time in 2020 was 518 companies. I think now it's up to 1,300 or 1,400 companies that are on that list that cannot be purchased. Okay, and those companies are part of technological stuff, different things that are proprietary or things that are happening from Japan they don't want to let go. Nintendo is not that. They are a gaming company. Nintendo's not making tanks, right? They're not making computer chips or anything like that for military purposes. Nintendo is not protected on the Japanese law, Krebsy. It is not. I literally looked at the list this morning. They are not on that list. Because they don't fit the parameters of what Japan is protecting. They're protecting companies like if a microprocessing plant was in Japan, which is not, it's in Korea, right? They would not be able to be purchased because of what they make. Okay, they don't want an outside source owning that technology. Let me see if I can bring up this list. Oh, let's see. What is this website's actual? I copy that. I did it on my phone this morning. Let me go to the actual. All right. Oh, that's not it. Here, let's read the article. Let's read the article from 2020 when they posted this. May 9th of 2020. Okay. Japanese names 518 companies subject to tighter foreign ownership rules. Doesn't say they can't buy, it's just tighter. Okay. More than 500 other companies and corporations will be subject to tougher restrictions on receiving foreign investment starting June 7th, according to the list published on Friday, The Mystery of Finances. New legislation requires, and I remember reading this when it actually happened, approved for foreign investors to take a stake of 1% or more of Japanese enterprises in 12 core strategic sectors from defense to utilities. Ministry list covers of 14% of nations' publicly traded companies. The list of 518 businesses include Mitsubishi, Toshiba, and whatnot. The new requirement aims to deter foreign players, deter them, not stop them, deter them from players from acquiring Japanese companies dealing in sensitive technology. Previously, foreign investors did not require pre-screenings unless they're taking stakes of 10% or more in strategic companies. They can still be exempt if they meet certain requirements, such as staying out of management. Finance Ministry does not expect investors that regularly trade stocks to be affected by the lower threshold through sovereign wealth funds will likely need to be screening as a general rule. In light of the coronavirus pandemic, the ministry plans to designate pharmaceuticals and advanced medical equipment as strategic industries, and this list of affected companies is only exempt to grow. Ministries also published a list of 1,500 companies that do not require prior approval and invest in, but require reporting after the fact. These include Japanese airlines and regional operations. Past violators and also foreign investment rules will also seek pre-approval investment in companies from a list as well. The Finance Ministry plans to update the list from time to time, and which I looked at this morning. Okay, and Nintendo is not on that list. So this is just the North American Nintendo or Nintendo as a whole, the entire Nintendo. That's a different conversation, Embu. That's a completely different. Because Activision, like let's reverse time here if we can. If they didn't buy Activision, right, and they were going for Nintendo instead, we would be in the exact same scenario we are now, with the FTC and the CMA all trying to stop the sale of Nintendo going through instead of Activision, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, that would be the thing. Because Activision is the one they chose to go with for many different reasons. For the mobile market, for PC market, is why they went with Activision instead. Okay? They don't need to buy Nintendo now. They can partner with Nintendo, which they are. Right? Which they are. They're partnering with them over the next 10 years for at least Activision, Blizzard, and whatnot. So that's what they're doing now. So we're looking at documents that are 3 years old. And before they were interested, they were interested in, okay, they were interested in a bigger process. Okay? So they were looking for Nintendo. They were looking for Valve. They were looking for these big companies. They approached Valve. They approached Nintendo. Nintendo wasn't ready to sell. Valve was like, no, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. And they're like, hey, Activision, what are you doing? Kodak's like, sure, let's go for it, right? And this is where we're in. This is before they bought Bethesda. This is before they made the offer to Activision. They're not in the market right now, at least actively, right? And I've said in the past, right? Because I remember when everyone was like, oh, Activision's holding Bungie back and Bungie's separated. And I said, Bungie will get bought again. And they're like, no one's looking for Bungie. And then there was a phone call. Microsoft tried to buy Bungie, and Bungie was like, nah, we don't want to go back to you, because they were undervalued, right? Get this. They asked for $7 billion, Bungie, okay? They said, no, for your brand, we're not buying that. We'll buy Bethesda instead. And they bought Bethesda instead for $7 billion, and they got all the IPs, all those things that were coming. It was a smarter decision for Microsoft to buy Bethesda than it was Bungie. Bungie's like, we're not for sale. They didn't take it. And then all of a sudden, Sony picks them up at a cheaper price. You're welcome, Sony, because of Microsoft. They still overpaid for Bungie, in my opinion. Seeing how much Sony fought for them not to get Activision, imagine the lengths they would go to get Nintendo. Oh my god. But let's look at actual data here, right? If they purchased, right, and I'm doing numbers off the top of my head here, right? What did they sell? 127. Let's just say 130 million Switches, right? And then they have what? Xbox, the one now at 22, 25 million, 30 million, right? I'm fluffing the numbers a little bit, right? Even with the 130 plus the other 30, it's only 160 million consoles between Nintendo and Xbox. Sony, between PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, is over that. Sony's doing very well in the console market. I really like the show more and more. I like gaming news and hearing discussions on games, not constant bashing or criticizing one of the companies. Keep doing your thing. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We just read the news, man. We just read the news. I have no sides. We have conversations. I see y'all playing out just like you said. I think Microsoft would have a harder time making an argument. They're not just a developer, they're a publisher, and they're a platform. Right. The D2 servers are currently shitting themselves. I try not to even cover their news. You guys can post stories in there, and if it interests me enough, I'll read about it. But I'm kind of done with them. I don't know the list of criteria though. Japan would protect top 25 companies in Japan. They're not on the list, Krebsy. They're not on the list. I'm telling you. I looked at that list. It's a long fucking list. And even if they were on the list, Krebsy, they're not off the table from purchasing. They just made the rules of a tighter, more stringent of, well, if you're going to own this, these are the rules you have to abide by. They're not off the table from being purchased. They're just on the table, and it's a much harder process to get those companies. Why? Because money talks. Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, that's right. No dick sucking here. That's right. All right, let's read Phil Spencer's. All right, Phil Spencer addresses a massive Xbox leak. We will share the real plans when we're ready. Okay, Phil Spencer has committed on the massive Microsoft FTC leak and seems to reveal top-level plans for the future of its console and games lineup. A quick rundown in the case you missed it. Earlier on Tuesday morning, Xbox FTC court documents leaked revealing key information about Microsoft's gaming segment, including console plans, upcoming Xbox Series X games, and exclusive level restrictions to defining industry events. In a tweet published on Tuesday afternoon, Spencer seemed to suggest that at least some of the information revealed, now outdated and no longer accurate, which makes sense, right? Again, let me do an analogy here, okay? Okay, if I have plans this weekend, I'm like, hey man, I'm going to Disney Park, okay? I'm gonna go to the Disney Park and we're gonna hang out with the family and whatnot. And then all of a sudden Thursday comes, a storm comes in and it starts to rain, okay? Then you guys ask me, hey, how was Disney on the weekend? I'm like, I didn't go. And they're like, oh, why not? Well, plans changed. Imagine that, right? So imagine as a company, 3 years ago, doing a plan, which is called a business plan, really, right? You're doing a marketing strategy. You're doing, like, you put it out in front of you, right? Because you're looking steps ahead, okay? So you're looking at the roadmap. Yeah, actually, let's do it in gaming's terms. You're looking at a roadmap for the business. Shit changes, right? How can you look at Battlefield 2042 coming out and fixing their maps and that doesn't happen on time, but then you're looking at a massive trillion-dollar company making plans a decade in advance and they're like, see this? Look at this guy. He lied to us. He didn't lie to you at all. You're not even a fucking member of the company. These are leaked documents, motherfucker. You're not privy to this information. These are leaked information. Ghostwood says, I laugh imagining Phil throwing his shit around his house, office, and fuming. That's right. That's right. So in a tweet published on Tuesday afternoon, Spencer seems to suggest that at least the information revealed is now outdated and no longer accurate. That makes sense. Here's a full quote from the ex-boss. He says, quote, we've seen the conversation around old emails and documents. That's a lie, Phil. These are current day. It's hard to see our team's work shared in this way because so much has changed and there's so much to be excited about right now. And in the future, we will share real plans when we're ready. And here's another thing. I love how people read the document and they see how Phil's talking and they're like, oh, he's such a liar. He's pumping up. He is the CEO of the company. What is he supposed to do? All right, guys, let's huddle in. Let's pretend this is a sports real fast. All right, everyone, huddle in here. Look, I know it's halftime and we're completely losing 90-0. Right? Tom, you suck at your job. Ted, you can't do anything for our company. Todd, how's Starfield going? Good? That's fucking bullshit. Who's working on Redfall? You working on Redfall? Get the fuck out of here. It's garbage, right? He's the CEO. He's supposed to go, all right, guys, I know we're in third place. I know we're doing bad things here. We're going to get shit together, right? This is our plan that we're going to try to do. I want you to get Starfield up and running. We're going to put that on Game Pass. You're going to get this game over here. God damn it, Arcane. Can you get Redfall working? I'm praying. You said it's okay. They say it's okay. All right, we're going to purchase this company based on what they're telling us, right? What is he supposed to do? Right? What is he supposed to do? I like how a diapers commercial was playing on there as I'm saying that. Okay. There were lots of potential plans, including recent leaks, like an all-digital Xbox Series X refresh, Microsoft 2028 next-gen console plans, and remasters for Oblivion and Fallout 3. And yes, Spencer did speak internal emails, right? Key word there, internal emails, about buying Nintendo and Valve. Dun, dun, dun. All those things could still be objectives that Xbox is pursuing, of course, right? But to Spencer's point in today's tweet, plans in the corporate world change with great deal of frequency. No shit. I changed this morning. I wasn't even gonna do the news this morning. I was gonna go play the first Descendant some more, which we'll probably do after this. Okay. But I was like, I'll read the news. Right? I'm just one person. I didn't have to negotiate or talk to anybody with internal emails. My internal brain trying to talk to myself. The internal memo to publish by The Verge, Spencer said to Xbox employees, quote, I know this is disappointing, even if there are many documents are well over a year old and our plans have evolved. I also know we also take confidentiality of our plans and our partners' information very seriously. Apparently not, Phil. Someone forgot to put it in the right bin pile. This leak obviously is not us living up to the expectations. That's for sure. We will learn from what happened and be better going forward. We all put incredibly amounts of passion and energy into our work, and it's never how we want to be. Hard work is to be shared with the community. That's right, because it's process of in work. Okay, no matter what you do, it's like you ever work on a project as a kid or as an adult? Hell, as a man fixing something around the house, and your wife comes over to you and says, "Well, that doesn't look good." And you're like, "I'm not even fucking done yet." Right? You're like, let me actually work and build the thing. And then when it's done, then you can give me critiques there, peanut gallery. Okay. That's basically how businesses work, right? They have to do stuff. They have to get it to the actual finish line. And then you can then critique what their work was. You can't critique work in the middle of the process, right? That's like an artist, like drawing a line on the thing. That looks like shit. And you're like, well, I just started drawing, right? Let me finish the project first, and then you let me know if it's still shit. Okay. So there you go. Right. Phil Spencer comes out, and here's the actual whole thing. Do they have where's his whole statement? Let me look it up real fast. Wrong one, I think. No, that's it. That's Phil Spencer. And that's the tweet. Where's his email? That was sent. It was in general. No, it was in submitted stories. There it is. I can't make it. Can I make it bigger? Open a new tab. There it is. It says today, several documents submitted in the court processing proceeding related to our proposed acquisition to Activision Blizzard were unintentionally disclosed. I know this is disappointing, and even many of the documents are well over a year old, and the plans have evolved. I also know it also takes confidentiality of our plans and also partner information very seriously, and this leak obviously is not us living up to the expectations. We will learn from what happened and make better going forward. We're all putting incredible amounts of passion and energy into the work, and this is never how we want to do hard work to be shared with the community. That said, there's so much more to be excited about, and when you're ready, we also share real plans with our players. In closing, I appreciate all the work, and I can't read that part, work that you are into our team, and Xbox is surprised to delight our players in the next few days and weeks ahead. Let's stay focused on what we can control and continue the amazing success of Starfield and the upcoming launch of the incredible, accessible Forza Motorsports, and continue to build games, services, devices, and that's millions of players that can enjoy. Phil. So there's the actual thing that he actually said and put out. And someone, I think, was it you, Dolphin? There's like his document that he put out leaked. Everything leaks, right? It's a leak of a leak. I feel so bad for the Skyblivion devs, and the Oblivion remaster is a thing. Ghostwood says Gabe is going to raid boss for Microsoft negotiations. Going on, chapter 8. The fastest way to get my husband to do something is to start to do it myself with the tools and criticize something he's in the middle of. There you go. But you know that the project is not done until he actually done with it. Then you can criticize. You know what I'm saying? Chapter 8. But that's how I feel. Like my wife's like, "Can you fix this?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then she comes out like 20 minutes in, and I'm like doing something. Like I built a dog house, a duck house, and all this stuff. She's like, "Yeah, is that gonna be good?" And then I'm done with it. And she's like, "Wow, that's actually pretty good." Yeah, no shit. Let me build it. Right? Let me build what I need to build. Krebsy says, my stance is the same I have with Microsoft getting Activision Blizzard for this. Microsoft should fix what they have and then maybe get accessible to buy. Don't need a bigger Embracer Group problem. I mean, I see what you're saying, right? And I agree with you, Krebsy. I don't think a company should keep buying other companies and then disposing of those companies, right? But here's the thing that I'm kind of seeing with Microsoft. I'm not saying Microsoft has never got a company and then close it down, because obviously they have. All companies have. Okay? But I think a lot of the will of people that look at Microsoft is like what EA did, or other companies that buy companies up and then dispose of them, right? All companies get bought up. I mean, hell, we just did a mission yesterday inside of Starfield of tanking a company, okay, and then buying the company for the other company. Okay, this happens all the time, right? And in the actual story, okay, you get to choose: should we merge with them and save the employees, or do you fire all of them, right? The bad part about this is that we, as just individuals that have no connection to this particular company or that particular company, we can all armchair all day. But when it comes down to it, as a business, the business, okay, when you work for a corporation like that, has to keep eating. This is why we call them Unicron, okay? Unicron has to keep eating. If Unicron wants to survive, he has to keep eating. If Microsoft wants to survive, they got to keep eating. If Sony wants to survive, they don't have to buy companies, but if they want to compete, they're going to have to buy companies up as well. Hence why they're also buying up companies. They might not be as big as Activision Blizzard, but they are buying up companies because they have to compete. So no matter what happens, companies will buy other companies. If you're here or not, if you agree with it or not, it's going to happen because the bottom line has to keep doing this. So now you look at it and go, well, if Microsoft doesn't buy it, someone's going to buy it. So who's it going to be? Right? Who's it going to be? My wife does this, and I'm dying at work. Yeah, because that's what happens. But as you said, this is really such a thing as a leak. Exactly, Rose. That's a whole nother conversation, right? Like, leaks happen, right? Let's play 4D chess, right? And again, I'm not saying this is what happened, but let's play 4D chess, right? You're in third place, right? You are the bottom, basically. There's only three places. You're dead last, right? You're dead last. You're like, what do we do to change stuff, right? Because it was asked, right? It was asked that, are you going to do a mid-gen upgrade? And he said, no, we're not doing a mid-gen upgrade. But then there's a document that comes out 3 years ago saying that they're doing a mid-gen upgrade. Well, since then, maybe there is no mid-gen upgrade. Maybe next year there is no mid-gen upgrade. Maybe there is no new console. We don't know. We're not there yet. Okay? So maybe they look at it and go, all right, what about if we just leak everything? I mean, let's be out there, right? Because if we leak something and it makes us look bad, then we can only get better from here, right? Celebrities do this all the time, right? Celebrities do this all the time, right? People date each other just so they get more promotion, more eyeballs on the stuff, right? Now, I'm not saying Microsoft is doing this. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if we find out down the road that's what's happening. At the same time, the company with many moving parts, I'm pretty sure they can multitask. Yeah. Remember this, right? I would love to see an email back in the day when Bill Gates didn't want a game system, right? Imagine that. Imagine we can peer back 20 years ago when Bill Gates is like, I'm sorry, you want to make a what? It's a video game box. He's like, well, I just want to eat bugs and I want to take care of the cows that are farting, right? That's what he says today. But back then, he's like, I don't, what the fuck's a video game? Like, I don't want video game. Fine, just get out of my hair. How much do you need? Signs the check, hands it over, and says, yeah, sure. And they make the Xbox. They make the most ugliest, biggest, bulkiest thing known to man. They make the Xbox, original Xbox, which was the size of my monitor, okay? As thick as a loaf of bread, okay? With the controller that's 3 times the size of this, okay? And they made a console. As just a whim, just to be like, yeah, let's just throw our hat in the ring. But now you look at an email 20 years ago, and they're like, oh my God, Bill Gates didn't want to make the Xbox? How is that? You can keep eating with a healthy and strong foundation set. A house is useless if the foundation is cracked and isn't level. But who's to say their foundation is cracked and it isn't leveled? See, this goes into the conversation of, is it good that Microsoft is letting the companies that they buy do their own thing, or is it bad that the companies that they buy and they're not letting them do their own thing? Like, what is it? It actually looks like my internet router, Rose. I have Spectrum. I can't pull it up and show you, but it looks like my internet. IP hoarding is going to become an increasing problem. Groups like Embracer are scooping up titles like game devs, Costco, only to keep. Yeah. Well, Embracer's firing people, and everyone's like, oh, Embracer Group, they're saving the industry. Are they? They have like 148 companies. 148 companies. D-Money says, no way a bunch of clowns are sitting in a room, Microsoft, talking about that. Talking about what? What I said about how they leaked it on purpose type of stuff, D-Money? I remember when the initial rumors of Xbox was going to play PC games. That died quickly. Right. They lied to us. They lied to us, Ghost. I guess it depends on the devs' look and how it turned out for Redfall. Right. But look how it turned out for Starfield. Look how it turned out for Sea of Thieves. Look how it turned out for... You see what I'm saying? There's always a good part and bad part. Yeah, like how the celebrities do it. Let's do it like that. Look, I'm just saying that there's different marketing strategies, right? 15 years ago, we didn't have Twitter, right? You had to pay a advertising firm to make advertisements for you. Now you can literally just tweet. You don't need to purchase anybody. You don't need to buy anybody. Companies still do. They'll pay like Kim Kardashian to say, I like this product, and they paid her millions of dollars to do it, right? To say that they don't do stuff like that, okay. I've seen some weird shit in my time, 20 years in the film industry, or I should say in the entertainment industry. Chris says, people oppose Microsoft buying other companies because they don't like the state. Some Microsoft IPs are just trolling. Microsoft expanded the shit out of Minecraft, and the state of Halo didn't fucking matter. Right. I personally think that it was leaked on purpose to get people talking. Look at all the headlines or morning live shows. Could be. Absolutely, Rose. And I don't want to say that's exactly what they did, but let's be honest. I mean, it gets the ball rolling. Again, Twitter is a completely, well, X, whatever the fuck it's called now. Okay, I'm one of those people that still call it Twitter. Okay, but the internet, social media, okay, is a completely different beast nowadays. Embu says, personally, I want them to be more hands-on, but maybe the approach to letting them do their thing is more effective in the long run. But it's a 50-50 thing split, Embu, because what if Microsoft came out and said that we were hands-on with Redfall, right? They were hands-on with Redfall, and Redfall came out and did exactly the same thing it's doing now. People would say, well, it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't. They'd be like, well, see, Microsoft fucked up Redfall. And then Microsoft didn't go hands-on. And they're like, we should have went hands-on. And they're like, yeah, see? Microsoft fucked up because they didn't get involved. It's like, which one is it? Which one is it? Is it because they got involved or is it because they don't get involved? 30, I think the suits is a problem with not getting the devs want to do. Well, look, my brain is a different part than the arm, right? The suits are different than the devs, right? The suits tell me, okay, I got to build something. And my arms and hands pick up the tools to actually do it. Sometimes, you know, there's miscommunication and whatnot, and you smash your finger with a hammer because your eyes stop taking a break. You know what I mean? The suits are always going to be different than the devs, because unless the suits were devs and they can feel and understand where they're coming from. But the people that are up on the top of the company, most of them are not gamers. Now, the difference, right, is Phil Spencer is a gamer, right? He comes from that realm, and he is now in that part where he is a suit. Not that they don't. They just don't think that that's where their head's at when they do it. But if you break it down, it might look that way. Sure. I'm not saying that's what it was, Money. I'm just giving an example. That's all. We're having a conversation. Redfall, I couldn't care less about if it was originally a PlayStation exclusive, but Halo Infinite, travesty surrounding them, and they needed a firm hand and a guidance. Well, 343 was having problems well before, and I've made connections to this, Embu. It's really hard. Okay, it's really hard to be a dev. Okay, it's like being an understudy in a musical or a play, right? Where the understudy is not the main actor. The main actor's he's the main actor or she's the main actress, okay? And she's doing the part their way, okay? Now, the understudy has to do what she's doing or what he's doing, because if they get sick or whatever and they do it their different way, then that fucks up the thing, okay? So 343 is the understudy of Bungie. They had to make a game, make a series that was like game-changing for the industry. Halo, when it came out, the time it came out, was groundbreaking, okay? And Bungie kept making good games, and then they're like, we're out. And Microsoft's like, shit, this is a IP we need. Who do we get? They make 343. They put 343 on it, and they're always chasing what Bungie did with the game. They'll never, ever be at the caliber of that because they're being compared to that. If they gave 343, okay, a different game, I guarantee you 343 couldn't smash it out of the park. Or it was just an employee, a law firm, everyone knows internal info, memos, end up and above the law in 2 seconds. Yeah. Why do you think Game Pass is headed for a failure? I don't, Crowded. I think that it's going to get bigger and bigger because of the processes that they're doing with Game Pass. Now, do I agree with Game Pass? I'm torn with this, right? Because as a gamer, I don't want the gaming industry to go into a streaming service where all games are there, because I do believe the quality will come down because they can't keep up with it, right? Netflix is the same streaming service. They pay $200 million, $300 million for these shows, and then the shows don't last more than 2 seasons because they just can't fundamentally do it. Now, I know it's a little different because it's a video game, but for 4 years developments, right? Because you can make a show in 6 months, okay, and put it out there, where video games take years. So unless Xbox gets more people, and this is talking about first party, right? First party stuff. Unless they get more first party and get more people third party to come in, and they're paying those bucks that we saw on that list yesterday. They're paying $300 million for Jedi Survivor. They're paying $250 million for Suicide Squad. They're paying $15 million a month for Grand Theft Auto 5. They're making the money off of just the 25 million that we know. So do I hate Game Pass? I don't hate Game Pass. I think Game Pass is a very good value, right? I mean, I have it. I play it. Yeah, my son loves it. It's like going to the Blockbuster and renting games. You buy it, you get upset, right? You pay $70 for a game. You're like, this game's not. But the way the market's going, the games that are coming, they come out broke, buggy, unfinished. Okay, that's not saying all games, but games come out broke, buggy, unfinished. And if they come out on Game Pass broke, buggy, unfinished, it's okay because it's on Game Pass, right? Look at Redfall. Look at other games that come out that are just not the thing, right? I do like Sony's method of sell it for 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, and then put it on your platform and let the other people get it, right? But I'm also looking out for the devs. But at the same time, the devs are making their money, right? So Game Pass is good for the consumer. Game Pass is good for the developers, right? But for the industry, I think it hurts it in the long run. But that's just me, because if everything goes to a streaming service, everybody has to compete with that. But that's here nor there. We'll see. Hindsight 2020, 10 years from now, we'll see where we are. But I don't think Game Pass is headed for failure. I don't want Microsoft to ever be near Nintendo. They probably asked for pronouns and then at the beginning of Zelda. I mean, that's such a weird statement, Jason, because Bethesda. I mean, I'm not even going to touch that one. We'll let you have that one. Microsoft, like you guys are talking about Spider-Man 2. Watch this leak. But you're right. It does seem like a demand. If you do the demand, if you don't, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Though I think it's more of an opportunity of a data of which approaches more right. Nintendo has suits too. People don't seem to be complaining about them too much aside from streaming problems. Yeah, just people have a hard on, right? Xbox fanboys have a hard on for Sony, and Sony fanboys have a hard on for Xbox. It's amazing to me that Sony fanboys talk more about Xbox than they talk about Sony. Crazy to me. Everybody says, personally, I would be upset being in a studio like 343 or Rare and seeing my parent company spend $70 billion on a third party instead of investing in improvement of my workspace. I mean, but they're making that money though. Are you saying that Rare's not getting the support they need? You know what I mean? 343 is different than Rare. 343 is in the shadows, and there will always be in the shadow of Bungie making Halo. Rare, they have a smash hit on Sea of Thieves, right? And they have other games in the works on Rare. So saying that because they're spending $70 billion on the third party instead of investing in to improve their space, you don't know what they're spending on. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not privy to what they're spending or not spending. Speaking of Jedi Survivor, is it working on PC yet? I'm not sure. I think the last patch, Chapter 8, fixed it. I know it fixed it for console. I'm not sure if it fixed it on PC. Competition breeds innovation. On the internet, Ginger Prime says that he actually likes. Let me bring his up. And I actually read it this morning, and I was like, huh. I was like, that's an interesting take, right? Let me bring up his. He actually says that he likes. Here's a wonderful discussion, or is that one? Oops. But he's fighting for he's speaking from a place of he wants gamers, right? He wants gamers to win based on, it doesn't matter what platform you want. He wants all games on all platforms. And I get that, right? I don't want to take him out of context in any way, shape, or form. Just reading his tweet. This is my statement today are in 100% in line with what we've been fighting for, gamers first, not platforms. Anyone who thinks I'm saying anything different either doesn't watch my content, right? No judging here, I'm a bit much, or confusing me with someone else, right? So he talked about, he says that, where is the statement? Let me find his. PlayStation to take it seriously at the end. Work make it better. Going to pay to keep games off platforms. Let's see. Okay. Today's thought experiment is Nintendo and Microsoft is such a fascinating one. Gamers don't want Sony. Gamers don't want Sony to have compete, and they would fold if Nintendo joined Microsoft. Microsoft should just invest that money into new stuff, which is fine, which is them making new things too, but impractical to think that they can stand up to the super abundance of Sony. Well earned with their library. People don't understand economics, right? So he's in fact saying that he wants all things to come to gamers, right? So he's okay with Nintendo being bought and consolidated and stuff. I come from a fact of if there's three people and we're all making the exact same thing, right? You do this in school, right? You all come up with different things. Let's say we're all making the same project. We're all making a car out of milk cartons and whatnot. Okay. Well, one person makes the car and they use paper cardboard wheels, right? They make cardboard wheels. They cut out the cardboard wheels. They put them on the thing, right? Somebody else makes the wheels and they look at over there and they go, oh, they're doing cardboard, right? They're seeing what they're doing and they're competing, right? They're like, well, I'm going to make mine out of, double cardboard, more cardboard, making a thicker wheel, right? And then the third person's looking at it going, I'm going to make a car, but I'm going to use the caps as the wheels. I'm not going to waste my time cutting out stuff. I'm just going to use the caps, put a hole in it, and make those the wheels. Okay? Now, does that make, if one person looks at the other and says, oh, I'm going to team up with this person, and we're going to work together and make a better car, or does it make it better that three companies are all working on a car, all working on consoles, and they all kind of raise that bar with each other, right? You see what I'm saying? So, like, if someone comes up and goes, oh, I'm going to make cardboard the wheels, and then someone's like, oh, I see cardboard, I'm going to make it a little bit better than yours, and then the other person's like, well, I see your cardboard wheels, and I'm going to raise you plastic wheels, okay? They all work together. There's no right or wrong answer, right? If you want people to consolidate and compete, and you think that's competition, cool. I like, personally, people pushing each other to make it better. If someone comes out with 4 terabytes and someone says, I'm going to come out with 5, and someone comes out and someone says 6, more the merrier. More companies, the better, right? Because the top will rise, the shit ones will fall off, and that's just the way it works. Games and movies take years on years to make perfection of it. Krebsy says, Rare isn't the same quality of studio they were before Microsoft buying them, but it was more thinking of hiring more talent, building better studios, salary increases, offer actual benefits, etc. But how do you know they're not doing that, Krebsy? Based on people leaving, I understand that from the things that we know. But how do you know what a company is doing if you're not in the company? And I'm not defending them. All I'm saying is, because we see flaws and cracks in certain things, how do we know that's not Rare? Or how do we know that's not 343? Why is it that it's Microsoft, right? This is like the damn if you do, damn if you don't type of thing, right? Microsoft is Daddy Warbucks, and the companies have managements in each of the categories, and they're working on something, and the talent that's happening there is on the studios themselves. Microsoft says, what do you need? And they're like, oh, we don't need anything. We're good. And they're like, okay, cool. Show us what you got, right? And then the other people look at it and go, yeah, we need help. We're drowning over here. And they're like, all right, cool. What do you need? We have all these other people that can help you and bring it over. How do you know? I think it's definitely headed to failure with the model, because look at the other services that keep raising the prices and eventually price people out. They leave. It all depends on how fast they can get to their number, Rose, right? Netflix raises their prices, right? And I agree. I don't think it'll fail. I don't think it'll be a failure. I mean, I don't know what the failure rate is, right? If they want to hit 100 million and they only hit 90 million, is that a failure? I guess it's a failure. Do I think it's going to fail and then go completely away? Because think about that. How's that going to work? Right? The train's on the tracks, man. It's going full speed. They're getting rid of, right? In the future, there's going to be less physical copies of stuff. It's all going to be digital stuff. So where do they go? How do they change where they're putting all this money into the streaming service of Game Pass? How do they stop that? How do they stop that and go back to the old way? I think it has to evolve into something different. If that's Game Pass goes into super tiers, right? Which is sort of doing now anyway, right? Where there's different tiers in PlayStation Plus, there's different tiers in Xbox with Game Core, right? So they can keep raising that top end price, and if people want that top end price, they'll pay for that top end price, right? I've said I think the most I would pay is like 20-25 per year or per month. If it gets too high and I'm not playing enough games, then yeah, I would say you're correct that it's too much and then it's failing. But Who's to know what failure is? Companies have to keep doing this. If they want 100 million and then they want 200 million, that might be a failure. But if they maintain 100 million people or 50 million people, is that a fail? I don't know. Didn't EA reduce BioWare's team to like 20 devs to fix and relaunch the launch of Anthem? Yeah, but that's EA, right? EA closes businesses down, and that's why I think a lot of the hate from Microsoft comes, is that because EA does stuff, right? Because all these other companies do it, they think that Microsoft does the exact same as that, right? The reason Bethesda got so much shit about Starfield is because of Fallout 76. broke pieces when they became head of Xbox. He's done a good job. I think from a business standpoint, I think Jim Ryan Johnson didn't do a good job. Fucking blew up Star Wars. Now, Jim Ryan, I think, is doing a good job with PlayStation. And I think Phil Spencer's doing a good job with Xbox, right? People are looking at this like he's in third place, but Xbox is the most successful it's been ever in the history of Xbox. Right? So Phil's winning as the CEO of Xbox. Jim Ryan is winning as the CEO of PlayStation. Look how the Wii releases shift controllers development. Innovation breeds competition. Competition breeds innovation. Yeah. I pulled out before the most recent price increase. It was more affordable back when I could share accounts on Netflix. Right. But then you also have to look at it and be like, you stopped, but did they replace you? Right? Like, did they have 100 million people and then you left and they had 99,999, and then someone else came in and then did they get 2 people? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know that type of stuff. So for everyone that leaves, there's other people that come in and then get the service because they're finding it out for the first time. And they might be making more money and they might be in their price range. I know the based off Microsoft policy is such as 18 months worker when you need to take a year off, so Microsoft doesn't need to pay benefits. This gets expanded off of Jason Schreier's article. Again, though, you're how do you look at it when I'm trying to give an analogy here. Okay. To get a small context of what a business is doing based on a small glance of a window. Okay. And I know it's hard, and I'm not trying to defend Microsoft. I'm talking about it just in general. If a person walking by my house sees me smack my dog, right? They think I'm beating my dog. But what I'm actually doing is I'm playing with my dog, right? I'm like tapping him and stuff like this, and I'm playing with my dog. But if someone runs by my house, a jogger is running by my house, and they look over and they see me, and it looks like the dog is like attacking me or whatever, and I'm like playing with him, they could go, "This man's beating his dog." Small glance of a window, right? And then they go on Twitter and say, "Saw a guy, he's beating his dog." Meanwhile, the story is, I'm not beating my dog. I was playing with my dog, right? Now, I know it's a bad analogy, but what I'm saying is it's a small glance of window, and Jason Schreier goes in, and you have these moments of time that people maybe are not as good as their job, right? Maybe they didn't get hired to get into that stable job. In the film industry, I was always looking to get in on a sports team, okay? I would day play on a sports team, but for that financial stability, I wanted to get as a camera operator on the Orlando Magic, or I wanted to get on the camera department of a sports team, because that's multiple jobs a week, okay, where you're getting constant jobs, right? But if I didn't get that, then I can see where people would be like, oh, fucking hate this company, man. They don't hire me. I'm working my ass off. They don't want to give me. But there's only a certain amount of positions open for full-time workers, right? And there's no difference in the video game space, because most of the people that work in the video game space are not full-time employees. They're day players. They come in, right? I don't know if that's what it's called in the video game space, right? They're contract workers. They're there, and when their job is done, they move on, right? Maybe for that particular job for the 18 months, and again, I don't know, but maybe for the 18 months that it's there, just maybe, you're busting your ass for 18 months, okay? And maybe at the end of that, they hire certain people. Or maybe everyone, no matter what it is, those people always on a rotating cycle. And if they know that going in, then they really can't complain that they have to look for work after 18 months if they know their contract is done in 18 months. Right? Because, again, I'll give you an example. I work on a film industry shoot. It's a 45-day shoot, or it's a 6-month day shoot. Okay? I'm working for 6 months, but I know I'm looking for my next job while I'm on that job, and I'm trying to line up my next job while I'm there. And then when I'm done with that job, I move into the next job. So to say that Microsoft's policy is such as 18 months workers need to take a year off, I mean, going into that, it's the same in big law firms. A lot of contracts, attorneys get hired who get paid hourly rate for working actually done. Now, not comparable to full-time salary attorneys at the same firm, right? That happens in all businesses. This is why I'm saying I don't understand why that is like a big thing. Now, if you compare it in this specific term of, well, Sony doesn't do that with their companies. Microsoft is like 10 times the size of Sony. One's $1 billion company, one's $1 trillion company. A lot more moving parts. I don't know this. This is my opinion, but I don't think they're replacing key roles every 18 months. The positions are probably lower end design jobs that are only needed for a small portion. I would think that, again, Silent, I would assume that if, let's say I'm a level designer. I don't know if this is it, right? Hold on a second. I hear someone. Yeah, give me 1 second. All right. Yeah, so let's say I'm a level designer, right? 18 months I'm working on levels. Let's say Call of Duty, for instance. Okay. We've heard in the past that Call of Duty takes 3 months to make a level design. Right? Let's say in the 18 months that I'm there, I can make was it 3 months for one map? Right? So I can make 4 maps. I can make 4 maps in a year. Okay. So I can make 8 maps. No, not even 8 maps. I can make 6 maps, right? 6 maps. So I make 6 maps, and I'm halfway through, and then all of a sudden, now I leave. Now somebody else comes in and takes my job to finish the rest of the maps. In this position, the upper management would be like, okay, this is what happens. This is what needs to be. This is where such and such left over. This is what you're doing, and they're like, all right, cool, and they go right in. That would be an upper management type of thing, trying to balance people that they come into the company, right? Again, I know I make comparisons all the time to the film industry, but that's how it is, right? If someone's in the camera department, you have a second, a first, they're gone. When the next person comes in, you're looking at them like they're hitting the ground running, right? You hire certain people to know what they're doing for the job that they're doing, right? It's not on the job training, and if it is, right, you don't know what you're doing, you better fake it till you make it. the policy of Microsoft company wide across all divisions, not just gaming. The policy isn't helpful for gaming division when it takes months to teach someone a game engine. But that's just it, though. If you need to be taught, then you're not going to make it. Sink or swim. That's corporate life. And I'm sorry if people don't know that. That's for any job. You might be friends with Ted in your office, but you and Ted are competing for the next position up. You're competing for raises. You're competing for things. You might get a beer afterwards, but you're competing with each other in your workspace. I would assume it's exactly like that across the board in game development. My first stint in 2016 for Microsoft was 18 months. After 8 months, I got called back, but many know they will come back in 6 months. There you go. So were you a game developer? Z? .343 has been broken since day one. They hired people to make Halo who hated Halo. This wasn't going to work as well. And they had shit management since the beginning. Even my department was with Office 365. It was very hindered at times. Though having people leave, new people come, new training, it's difficult. Oh, I bet. But you know why they do it though, right? So they could save money. Compete per prospective partner's attention. Compete for job you want. Compete for house you want. Yeah, you're always competing. You're always competing. Think about you look at rosters for sports teams, and they have salary caps and stuff. They have salary caps in businesses as well, right? If you take Ted from accounting and he gets paid $200 grand a year, and then you got Pedro that comes in and he only gets paid $50,000 a year, right? Well, we could use Pedro for a couple of years, right? Where Ted's costing us way too much money, right? Sorry, first round pick traded, drafted, and moved across to the street to someone else. Here's your severance package. Thanks for coming in. Or 18 months. Right? 18 months, and then like, hey, you're going to work for us for 18 months, up to 18 months, up to. It's like up to 120 frames per second, okay? And you're going to make this, You want the job? Sure, because I need the job. There you go. Yeah, fuck off, Ted. That's right. Unless you're the Yankees or the Mets. Jason, I'm a Mets fan, and holy Christ, how can you pay that much? How can you pay that much for a roster and be that bad? It's amazing. Like the Mets, Jason, you could take, I think it's like 6 baseball teams right now that are competing for playoffs. All 6 teams still make less than the Mets roster. I think it's like the Orioles, the Indians, Tampa Bay. Who else is it? Yeah, I feel bad for you for being a Mets fan. Oh, don't. Why would you feel bad for me? I know what I was getting into. I've been a Mets fan my whole entire life. I mean, it could be worse. At least the Mets have won World Series. They always look good. And then the first pitch happens. And then it's over. You ever see the Family Guy episode? You ever see the Family Guy episode? It's opening day here. New York Mets. And it throws the first pitch, and that's the season. You never seen that? I think this is it.
First pitch, and
There you go. This is it.
So far, Halloween's a bigger letdown than being a Mets fan.
opening day, and here's the first pitch, and the season's over.
That's a Mets fan. That's it. That's what it is. Exactly, Rose. You know what you're getting into. That's right. That's right, at Chapter 8. You guys have won more playoffs than anybody else and less titles than anybody else for the amount of playoffs you've been in. God, the 90s were so... The Braves were there every year. All right, let's go to the last story. Last story. Activision was briefed on Nintendo's Switch two last years. Wait, I'm sorry. Let me read English now. Activision was briefed on Nintendo's Switch 2 last year. Activision executives met with Nintendo in December to discuss plans for the next generation of the Switch, which is described as a closer PlayStation 4/Xbox One performance. Now, before we even read this, because I haven't read this yet, you hear rumors that I said if they even came up to par, right, with the last systems or this system, and then we heard that, oh yeah, it's up higher towards the next gen systems, and then we heard that it's not, then we heard that it is. So who knows until we actually see the actual thing. Rumors of the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement have grown recently after reports of developer demos at Gamescom last month. Now we know that Activision was briefed on the next generation Nintendo Switch last year, thanks to internal emails. It's always that goddamn internal emails from the FTC. The most sloppiest court case ever I've ever witnessed. Activision executives include CEO Bobby Kotick met with Nintendo executives in December of 2022 to discuss the next generation of Switch. In an internal email chain, Chris, head of Activision Platform Strategy and Partner Relations, prepared a summary of the Switch NG, the Switch Next Generation inside document labeled NG Switch Draft. The document was heavily redacted and does reveal the performance of the next generation Switch will be close to that of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now, given a closer alignment to the Gen 8 platform in terms of performance in our previous offerings of the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, it's reasonable to assume that it also could take something compelling for the next-gen Switch as well. It also would be helpful to secure early access development hardware prototypes and prove that they're nice and early. The executive briefing summary preparation materials were also sent to Kotick ahead of December 15th meeting with Nintendo CEO, President. Also, Kotick went on to testify in the FTC Microsoft hearing and that he regretted not bringing Call of Duty to the Switch. His lead to the questioning for both FTC lawyers and also Judge Scott Quarrell of Call of Duty on the Switch, the FTC revealed that the agreement Microsoft signed with Nintendo also purports to bring Call of Duty game to... my brain just shut off there. Call of Duty game to the future Nintendo console and Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal to approve regular. All right, the FTC... So when Microsoft buying Activision is likely Activision would also own the Call of Duty available for Nintendo's future console, right? Kotick, we would consider it once the specs, but we don't have them at present. We missed out the opportunity for this the past generation of Switch, but we also wait until specifics, but we don't have any present plans to do so. What a liar. He lied in court, chat. He knew. He knew the next specs and didn't tell him. I'm joking. FTC is likely Activision's own world would make Call of Duty game for Nintendo future generation console, right? Kotick, I think once we get the detailed specifications, we missed out on the past generation of Switch, so I like to think that we're able to do that. We also have to wait until the specifications, but we don't have any present plans to do so. Nintendo has clearly been preparing key publishers like Activision for the next generation Switch for months now. VGC reported that July that the new Nintendo Switch is being planned for 2024 release. The new console is set to include an LCD screen intended instead of an OLED and continue to support cartridge slots for playing physical release of games. Earlier this month, Eurogamer reported that trusted developers got an early look at Nintendo Switch 2 during Gamescom in August, including some tech demos of how the game is run on an unannounced system. Now, the reportedly demo improved the version of Zelda Breath of the Wild designed to run the more advanced hardware inside Nintendo Switch 2. And VGC is collaborated also claims that it added Nintendo also showcased Epic Games Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5. Now, the tech demo running on hardware Nintendo is targeted for the next generation Switch, and the demo is reportedly used in NVIDIA's DLSS upscaling technology with ray tracing enabled, suggesting that the chip inside the next Switch could be capable of delivering the latest AAA games. So, we'll see what happens, because this is what you're getting right now. Let's see. This is what you're getting right now. This is what you're getting for Nintendo Switch. Can that be a? You're getting these graphics. Actual Switch graphics. This is PlayStation 5, and now this is Nintendo Switch. I love it. I love it. It's a meme. It's a meme, but hopefully the Nintendo Switch gets better graphics. But you know, does it really matter? Does it really matter? Looks like the review embargo lifted to Phantom Liberty. I'm seeing great things. Well, that's good, Kylo, considering it took them 2 years to get all the stuff they wanted in Cyberpunk originally. So hopefully they give it great reviews. Hopefully. Ooh, God. Where's the outcry now? Mortal Kombat. IGN gave it a 3. A 3 on Nintendo Switch. Where's the outcry? You give Mortal Kombat a 3. That's on Switch, though. That's on Switch, though, Sarge. Here's what he says. It says, there's a hint of a great fighting game that still peeks through the blurry backgrounds, but it's horrendous load times, inconsistent frame rate, muddy visuals, and a plethora of bugs make the Switch version of the altogether aggravating way to play what is a great fighting game on other platforms. It's quite simply shouldn't have released in this state. I mean, again, there's a whole conversation about review processes, right? I mean, he's telling people, if you have a Switch, if you only have a Switch, I guess it's still a good game to buy, right? I mean, it's complete. Insert, it only took 2 years to make to put out the actual game meme here. Exactly. I think it was IGN that had the comparison photo of the Xbox versus the Switch version of the character. It's pretty bad on Switch. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Twitter, you are fun. I'm trying to look at it to see if there's any other news stories going on here. Giving Elon Musk crap about getting put into Cyberpunk 2077. Trash game. That's right, Rose. Well, no, it's below trash, right? Because an 80 8 would be trash. So we got to come up with something. It's nuclear. We got to put like a nuclear symbol or something for something that low. But you did put triple trash. It's triple trash. So oh, absolutely, Kylo. Look. It's not that I didn't even play it. Right? So I can't give criticism personally on Cyberpunk 2077. I'm only taking from what was put out, right? One, I was on record saying anyone that had problems, which was the last gen systems, I told them they shouldn't even put it out for that system, right? And I said, if you're on that system, do not buy Cyberpunk 2077. I said it will not run. And it was proven. Okay. Now, the people that were having problems on console, regardless of how good of experience you had or Chapter 8 had, right? You guys both played it on PC. Am I correct? Or did you guys play it on console? I think you guys both played it on PC, right? And if you did play it on console, not everyone had the problems on console that it wasn't like widespread, right, on the next gen systems. But still, to the point of the game that they promoted, the game that they said that we're not releasing a broken game. That was from their mouth, not mine, right? And then releasing a game that was incomplete to their standards and broken. That's the problem, right? We could agree on that, Chapter 8. Yeah, it shouldn't have been on the last system. I'll buy it if they have a cheap bundle. I have the game. Brainchild, one of my mods, he literally gifted me the game. He gave me Cyberpunk. I never played it because of the state that it was in. Just like I didn't play Battlefield 2042 until it came to Game Pass, because at that point, I'm like, I'll play it when it comes to Game Pass because I'm not paying money for that game, right? Now, Cyberpunk, I'm getting it. Starfield's actually winning Cyberpunk more cred with me, right? Because I'm having a blast in Starfield. And I kind of want to go back and play, because of this RPG element that I'm doing, I kind of want to go back and play Cyberpunk 2077. Exactly, Crowded. They made fun of Bethesda. They literally made fun of Bethesda. We're releasing a game when it's complete. And I was just like, all right. And they had all the goodwill. And then they said, hold my beer. And I was just like, oh boy, that doesn't look good. I got it for $10 and still haven't played it. That's the issue. The issue isn't that the game is, in trash state anymore. The issue is that they said that they weren't going to release a broken game, and then they did. Like someone slam dunking. They're like, watch this slam dunk. And then they jump up, and it's like they're off the ground like 2 feet. They're not even close to the rim. Oh, that's a good slam dunk. Here we go. They come up with a layup. It's like, what? Just said, right? Just said, like, this doesn't hit anymore to me, right? If this Phantom Liberty, okay, and again, if this was the first time we saw Cyberpunk, this is when it launched, okay? 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 4, right? Like, this would hit a lot harder. I'm glad they have a DLC. I'm glad they've updated the game. But they literally are trying to win people back at this point. That's the bad part, right? The bad part is that they're obviously it's very successful. Very successful, right? It sold 8 million copies before it launched. Pre-orders. 8 million. Okay. It sold an additional 5 million after people heard it was broke. Like, I was just like, I'm sorry. Did you just sell 5 million more copies after they said it was broke? Ebu says, I barely played an hour of 2042's beta. God, I hate how it was so misused. I wasn't a beta. It was a demo. And even it sits on Game Pass, I can't bring myself to play it. Well, I'll tell you, Enbu, I played it. I've been playing it since, what was it, November, December of last year when it came on the Game Pass. They have, since February or, March, they basically got it to where it should have been at launch. And it's actually in a pretty good state now, right? It's in a pretty good state now. Not that I'm trying to tell you to go play it or anything, but I'm just letting you know from my experience playing Battlefield 2042, I think I'm like level 50-something now in the game. And it's in a really good state now. It's in the state 18, 19 months after where it should have been on day one. Now CD Projekt Red making the first remake of The Witcher 1. Let's see if it will remake or break on launch. Hopefully not. Hopefully not, Jesse. But a lot of people aren't going to give the game a chance now because that's what we'll be missing out on the fantastic game, which it wasn't at launch. But this is why I talk in the past. In the past, I talk about first impressions are everything, right? First impressions are everything. It doesn't matter if it's a person you meet, a game you play, a movie you watch. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Like, you could be in a movie theater watching a movie, and then someone's screaming child is in there, and it gives you a bad experience. You're like, I don't like that movie, right? I have a movie like that because of the person I was dating at the time. Batman Returns? No. What's the one with... See, I can't remember it. It's the one with George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Arnold, Jim Carrey. Which one's that one? Batman Forever? Is that what it was called? No, Batman and Robin. That's what it was called. Batman and Robin. Okay? See, it's such a bad memory. I've blocked it out of my head. Right? That... I had such a bad experience because of the person I saw the movie with. I mean, it's a bad movie, don't get me wrong. But to me, it's an absolute, like, it's garbage. Garbage. Because of the first impressions I had when I was watching it with the person I was watching it with. The movie was shit, Rose, but to me, it's even worse. It's worse, right? But that's just it, though. First impressions are everything, at least for me. Don't support them if you don't want to. But if you already own it and the base game and update is free. The update's free, but not the DLC. The update is free, yeah. So because the update's out, I might give it a shot. And the ironic part is, right? Cyberpunk 2077 should write a letter to Starfield because of Starfield, I'm more interested in playing Cyberpunk now. Imagine that. And that's not saying the quality of the game. It's just because of the RPG elements, I want to give Cyberpunk a chance. Go on, Bristol. Batman Forever. Just thinking of it, just saying the name right now, I'm having flashbacks of the relationship I was in. Terrible. That's a different podcast. Let's see what else is here. I passed on Cyberpunk at the time, figured that they get around to fixing it. Now looking forward to picking it up. And here goes another kind of topic, right? This is why you shouldn't buy a game day one. Right? Regardless if it's on Game Pass or whatnot, right? You shouldn't pre-order games and you shouldn't buy game day one. Because let's look at the scenario here, right? Cyberpunk was so hyped, people went out and purchased it. Where they sold 8 million copies before it launched. And because of that, they could technically just go and be done, right? Sure, you'd be pissed at them. But you know what? The next time they come out with Cyberpunk 2 or Witcher 4, people will forget about it. They'll be like, yeah, it was bad then, but good games, man, right? But now change the landscape. Now you don't pick it up day one, right? Then the company goes, dude, our game's out. No one's picking it up, right? They make their money. Like, I haven't played Cyberpunk, but I've heard of similar to Starfield. It's not really what you think it is. Can you elaborate on that? It's an RPG. So, and I said, specifically, Crowded, because of the way I'm playing Starfield as an RPG, where I'm role-playing, it's making me want to go back to play Cyberpunk. Are you gonna clip this and then put it on the internet for other people to misconstrue what I'm saying? Fallout 76 ended me ever buying anything day one. Funny, I have 3.5 hours today. There you go. Starfield will be getting a nice break from Phantom Liberty. I always buy day one, but I do my research. Most stuff I buy is franchises I already love. Well, the key thing there, Rose, is regardless if you buy day one, at least you do research. You know what I mean? At least you're doing research. Most people don't do research. They just buy. Well, that's a good segue, Silent. That's a good segue. I liked playing First Descendants yesterday. I got my character up to level 30 yesterday. Right? I played a little bit on stream yesterday. I played a little bit off stream yesterday, and then I played right after my stream last night. I played from like midnight to like 1 o'clock in the morning last night after I got off of Starfield. I like it. It hits the right things, right? First Descendant hits the right things. Here, I'll bring up footage of a gameplay that we did yesterday while we talk about this. Yeah, so yesterday I played this, right? I like the gunplay, right? I like gunplay. Yeah, I did this event that I went up like five levels, 6 levels doing this event multiple times. Okay. I did a boss fight yesterday, which was pretty cool, right? Four player like environment like breaks down around you and whatnot. The graphics are good. The gunplay is good. Nothing stands out as fantastic to me. This is just good, right? And this is not a slap because it's just good, right? The character models are good, right? The graphics are good. The gunplay feels good. The sound feels good. Maybe a little bit more punch, but there's this thing that happens like when you shoot somebody, and you'll hear here. I'll take the sound off for a second. Or listen to when I shoot. You hear that little pop at the end? You hear it?
The shooting has stopped, I see.
Right? You can hear there's this little satisfying sound that happens. Like, it's almost reminds me, I said it yesterday on the stream, when you pop the heads of the Cabal in Destiny, you hear this little, right? It happens in this game. They have this little sound design that's happening, and it just hits. Then you got loot falling. Okay? Then you got loot falling, and the loot is good. what I don't like about it is like right around here where my mouse is right now. When you pick up a gun, it just shows a little thing here, just pops up, says you have a gun. I kind of want it a little bit bigger, a little bit more distinct of, hey, I picked up something. It's not a big deal, little quality of life type of stuff. Another thing that I don't like about the game is how to pick up quests. Remember in Destiny 1, you would go around picking up from the little emblems, the little things, the little modules. That's what you do in this game. And then in Destiny 2, they put actual people there to give you quests. Again, it's a small little thing, right? Doesn't really matter. People are going to pick up quests. It's just like a toss away criticism. Okay. But the level design, I actually like the levels. I think they're pretty cool looking. Okay. There's other little cores. I didn't put that much time in. I've only have a couple, maybe 3 hours or something like inside the game. It's got the loop, man. It's got the loop. I think it could do very well. Now, you can unlock very grindy. It's going to be very, very grindy to unlock other descendants. Okay, it's like warframes, which will be like, and I want to kind of dive in more because I feel like what they're doing with this game is what Transformers Reactivate is going to do, right? With what Splash Damage is going to do with Transformers Reactivate. I feel like Transformers Reactivate is going to be very, very much like this. So picture Vessi that I'm using, or Vessa that I'm using. Okay, that this is Optimus Prime or this is Bumblebee. Okay, third person. You're going to be cool looking. You're going to be running around with your guns, dropping the exact same type of things, picking them up to upgrade, to do customization and whatnot. And there's going to be massive amounts of microtransactions, and there's also time, right? So if you unlock a Warframe or unlock a Transformer or unlock a Descendant, it's timed. I think it's like 12 hours, right? So there's things that if you like this, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's a free-to-play game, right? Warframe came out 10 years ago, and people didn't really like it, but more people play it now than they did back then. Maybe you want to get in on the ground floor and like understand what this game is. The actual release comes out, I think, in February, I read, sometime in February, and by the end of February. So lots of different missions to do in here, lots of different game designs. You can farm stuff. There is targeted farming for as far as resources. I don't know if there's targeted farming as far as actual drops, like specific gear, but there's specific resources that you can get by doing each thing. Like you highlight a thing on the map, it says this is what your reward's going to be, and you can grind that reward because you know where it is to what you need that thing for to unlock the person that you're trying to unlock. Let me see what you guys are saying. I just downloaded this yesterday. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. It's a cover-based shooter. No, it's not cover-based. Well, it can be. It can be a cover-based shooter, but it's not. It's like a wide open like Destiny Warframe. Just go shoot. You can get overwhelmed at times, Rose. You can get overwhelmed at times. I did die during an event by myself, which was super easy with one other person that came in and helped me. And this is like open area. Papa says, if you want to satisfying sounds like headshots in Medal of Honor Warfighter. Now that sound. Oh. Yeah, I remember playing Medal of Honor. Just satisfying. You can upgrade everything in the guns and have different stats, all the right notes. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things to collect. There's lots. Now, I think they're going to sell gold. I think gold is a thing that you can buy with other things. You can earn the gold, or I think you're going to get premium gold or premium something. And I think that's where people are going to start pushing back on this game. Again, I don't know. Just the feeling I get from what type of game this is. Jesse Max says 30 picked male or female character with this free-to-play game. I picked a female, but you can pick up any. You can pick up to 3 people in the beginning, one of the 3, and then you can earn all the rest. Sarge says maps will have to be bigger in Transformers because they need room to transform and move around the vehicles for them. True. These maps are pretty big though. These little sections. It's not super wide open. It's like Destiny. They're like bigger areas and whatnot. It's full crossplay. I think so. I believe so. I don't know, House. I didn't play it, so I couldn't answer that for you. Actually, I want to turn it on. I want to look at something real fast. I didn't look at it too much yesterday. I want to look it up real fast today because I peeked into the menu systems and stuff yesterday. We're not playing. We're looking at menu systems here. So let me bring it up. We'll just talk and discuss what I did. I'm not going to play. Co-op is up to 4, so you plus 3. Silence said, I just completed the 12-hour research for Bunny. I could have expedient research time when premium currency, but didn't. Right. And I think that's where they're going to get you a lot of the microtransactions and whatnot. Bristol says, Warframe missed it for me. I just seen Pointless. It was hit just right. You could get that formula right. All right. I mean, this is just a straight up rip off of the tower from Destiny. You know what I mean? Okay. Oh. So obviously, in the menu system, you have your weapons, right? You have your weapons. There's 4 different types, right? There's blue, right? There's purple. These are bullets, not levels, right? Obviously, there's purple, green, and whatnot. But different ammos, right? So you have your orange, you have your white, you have your purple, you have your blue. You know, regular bullets, medium bullets, higher bullets, super bullets, type of stuff. Within each of these guns, just like Warframe, you can put mods and stuff on there that make your gun, you know, you put modules in there to make them better. And then you can upgrade these modules as well, right? By taking the same ones, you can, like, put them in and raise them up, whatnot. Okay. Then you can also modify those or more efficiency, right? So if you look over here, my proficiency with this is level 3 right now, about to go to level 4 with the gun. Okay, I haven't got a legendary yet. I haven't found an orange yet. I have purple, I have green. There's blues, right? Like this is a blue one. That's a purple one. There was like standard ones that you had. Yeah, it's definitely Warframe-esque, right? For the characters, for the descendants, you can click on one, and I think it tells you. I forget. Oh, details. No, that's not it. Research info. Here it is. Right? So this tells you what you need for this character. Right? So it takes 12 hours to make this character. It's going to cost you 100,000 research coins. I have 440,000 gold. Okay? And it tells you the materials you need for this. Okay? So to research, it tells you what it is to make this. Right? It tells you what you need to make these things. You highlight them. It says you need 150,000 gold. You're going to need one of these catalyst blueprints. You're going to need the anti-gravity fixer. You're going to need the hardener. You're going to need the metal auxiliary. Okay, you're going to need all this stuff. Okay, well, if I go to research, it's going to take 6 hours to get this to make this particular thing. Okay, you see the layers now that's happening? So you can earn all of the characters, right? I have enough of these to make this character, right? But I'm missing this. I only have 51. right, of 348, right? I only have 363 of these. So now it's like, well, where do I get these from? Okay. Well, you go to Kingston and you get supply things, right? You get these supply boxes. You look for these supply boxes. Okay. So then you would go out to you would go to the map, right? And then you can go to the map and look at certain things. So if I go to Kingston, you highlight these, it tells you what you get. You get gold, right? You get XP. Certain things you get other rewards. And then there's boxes all around these things. So certain things will tell you certain rewards. Let me see if I can find one. I don't think any of these actually do. Let me go to the... Right, so there you go. So the yellow ones, they dropped certain resources for each of the things. So now if I want to grind for certain things that go for certain things, right? I think one of these actually gives you the... One of them actually you can earn... Is that it? Thunder Cage Blueprint. Protected Zone. Well, anyway, you could find like certain pieces for certain characters. Okay, and again, I'm gonna relay this to what Transformers Reactivate in my head's gonna be. So instead of getting this particular character at this location, you would get enough resources, or you would find the blueprint for Bumblebee or Ironhide or Optimus Prime. This is exactly how I feel it's gonna be. This game could be help to dethrone D2, although D2 has already been doing a pretty good job of by itself. I mean, it looks cool, but its convoluted grind would probably put me off. Well, that's just it, though, right? That if you like this type of game, Midnight, then you'll pick up. It'll hit you with the dopamine and type of stuff. But if you peek behind the curtain and see and know that it's the same type of grind as like a Warframe and stuff like that, then you'll be like, yeah, I'm out, right? I think games like this are going to be more popular going into the future. I mean, just because it's free to play, people will try it. And then what's your time worth? A lot of people that have the time to play games will grind. People that don't have the time have more money, and then they'll pay for it. If you, at the end of the day, if you enjoy a game, if it's single player or co-op, if you enjoy a game, you want to play a game, right? So then there's also let's see, consumables. You can craft these, right? So if I want to craft, like this is for Bunny, right? I don't have a Bunny stabilizer yet, but if I had enough of these, I would be able to make it, right? And it tells me where I get this from, right? You click on it, and it literally tells you where you get it from. Oh, for sure. Have you seen the gal who wears a unicorn onesie in this game, Akudabala? Or are you saying like as a meme? Yeah, and people that don't like Warframe because it's like melee based, or you know, they don't want to be space ninjas flying through, this might fit that bill. The problem with this game for me is that the world looks cool, right? The characters look cool. But if Transformers comes out and it's the exact same as this, I mean, the exact same as this, just different skin, I'm more interested in Transformers than this because I already have 40 years of knowledge of Transformers. You know what I mean? And I'm interested in that world. Warframe, this, all these other games, Destiny, I don't really care about the characters. I don't. I have no interest in these characters because they didn't hook me. It's up until next Sunday, or this Sunday, or Monday, I think. I forget what day it ends. It's a full week. 26th, I think, is when it ends. This is also another place where they'll make lots of bank off people, right? And again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm just trying to show you what it is, right? So they got the Descendant skins that you can earn in the game, and then you can also I'm assuming that I can earn this somewhere in the game, and if I can't earn it, then I would have to purchase it. And obviously they'll keep adding to this as they go, right? You got weapon skins. You got your spawn. I can't do. You got your grappling hook, what you can change. So obviously they have a lot of stuff. You can change your name card. Get your UI theme. Got emotes that you probably get to earn some, and then you can actually buy some, I would assume. And then your name above, like the actual. These are things that they'll charge for. And you can rerun missions, right? You can keep rerunning the missions. I think it comes out in February. I got to this. Here we can do this. Let me do this real fast. Let's do a boss battle real fast. Right. Let's see if 4 people are playing. So you get to play. You get to fight in a big battle with 3 other people. Can't get up there. Now let's talk about Suicide Squads, right? People are like, oh man, we gotta shoot little things. I mean, it doesn't matter what game you play, you're shooting little things. You know what I mean? Look at all the things that they drop. Oh, do I have? Oh, inventory's full. We learned that well. All right. Picked them up before. All right, so that's a little you know, and you get some rewards. And again, I'm telling you, man, it hits so well. Like, you're like, oh, I got it. You know, I got something to level up. So now I'll put this in there, or I'll level up something. There's always something dropping. There's always something going on. They've done a really good job with this game. Now, obviously, is it going to be a blockbuster? Is it going to be the next Destiny killer? Is it going to be the next Warf? I don't know. I think they've done a good job. Right? They've done a good job overall with what this game is and what they're trying to do. Right? I think Akuta Papa put a. Did you put it in the submitted stories, or was it general chat? It was general chat, right? Yeah, here it is. I got it. So this is the first Ascendant interview. We really love the game. We really love the genre. These are fans of the genre of the type of game that they're going for. Okay. Let me read this. So next on, okay, is serious about the first Ascendant, upcoming third-person RPG shooter that focuses on co-op. It's already entertaining, big market, but there's also other titles looking to muscle in on the space, as well as recently released Synced and also Battle Shapers coming soon. Now, the first Ascender is looking to make big impact. It seems as that we sat down to speak with them, right? So Mick is the first Ascendant classed as a looter shooter or a live service game. He says, Jew says is it Jew? Joe, the first Ascendant third-person cooperative RPG shooter game, a looter shooter, as a live service game, we feel having continuous updates. Okay, it says, what are the influences behind the game? As many may all know, we're also new to making looter shooters, but we also really love the genre. We think Warframe, Destiny, Outriders, The Division, Anthem, and Borderlands, and Halo. Imagine that. I literally said this yesterday as I was playing. I was like, oh man, it feels like Warframe, Destiny, and Outriders is what I said. Okay, is what I said. Are all the great games, and we also studied and worked hard to develop our game to stand proudly alongside these prominent titles. As a result, it seems that there are various aspects that have influenced us. So, I think the honor to be compared to these titles, of course, we put a lot of effort into creating unique content, such as the co-op content as a giant boss raids, which seems pretty cool. It says, where are the development challenges related to using the Unreal Engine? It says, we initially started developing the first Ascent with the latest version of the Unreal Engine 4, and then Unreal Engine 5 was released midway through the development. Switching engines was not an easy decision, as we were already in full swing, but our strong desire to deliver the game with the visual qualities that the Unreal Engine 5 has shown us. We took the plunge, and after a painstaking process, we were able to get it into the Steam beta last year. Now, we're gearing up for the crossplay open beta with the latest Unreal Engine 5.2 version, While the team is very pleased with the stunning quality of the Unreal Engine 5 performance on the last-gen consoles like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, as well as the lower-end PCs, there's been significant concerns. As you may know, that Unreal Engine 5 games have a high minimum spec requirements, and very few Unreal Engine 5 games support last-gen consoles. Unfortunately, we've been able to achieve fairly satisfying performances on current-gen consoles, and we believe that it also we've met our goals in the last-gen consoles after a lot of hard work. Okay. Is there a cross-save and progression as well as play? He says, yes, that's right. We support both cross-play and cross-progression, so you can play freely on any platform with a shared progression. This cross-platform support starts during the upcoming cross-play open beta, so we also hope you'll check it out. Okay. Is the First Descendant playable solo, or do you have to separate content, soloist, and group players? Because we understand that solo play is preferred in grinding games like the First Descent. Our fields are all balanced, so solo play. So if you play through multiplay, you also have an easier time progressing, which I figured that out yesterday, right? I did a mission yesterday that took me a while, but then I had one other person show up. Much easier. You could prefer to play by yourself in the field without being distracted by other players. You can also create a field in private mode and enjoy solo play. Void interrupted battles, VIB, are balanced for co-op, but those also who prefer play solo will include a feature that adjusts the difficulty of enemies based on the number of players in the party. The VIB against the Gravewalker is the first Colossus you're encountering, can be played solo, but some bosses require 3-player or 4-player squad play, so it's up to you if you and how to enjoy it. However, we definitely want you to experience co-op play in the First Descendant. Void intercept battles. There are 4-player co-ops and also take giant boss, and something unique and original. The First Descendant hasn't been experienced in other looter shooters. Another piece of content is special operations existing for both solo and multiplat. They're endless missions, and if your goal is to make it to the last wave, then you need to team up with a squad and take a challenge through the teamwork. I played this yesterday. I never got through it. We got to 15, I think it was, and basically I got disconnected of issues, and then I went back, got to level 12, and then we died because it got really, really hard or whatever, and people are not probably upgrading their gear and whatnot. So that it's fun. It's just endless waves of people, and you have to do 21 waves of it. Let's see. There's endless mission. Okay, teamwork. If you're also looking for an efficient way to get a middle grind reward, you can speed run solo. Players can also content based on their goals. You're also adding a new parkour moves prior to open beta. Will this be like the live test of those new moves? He says, we shared more information about grappling in our latest dev note. During the crossplay open beta, we'll be able to test out the completely changed grappling hooks and added parkour moves. I didn't know there was parkour moves. Interesting. What does the First Descendant do to compete with the heavy hitters in the same space like Destiny 2, for example? He says, I want to highlight 2 points that differentiates us. The first, from other games of the same genre. The first of our service aspects. Our goal is to create game that will be loved and enjoyed by players for a long time. We want to satisfy our players with continuous updates and stable online service. And that's what the beta is for. Second point is related to the game itself. Now, a diverse, attractive characters and battle with unique skill sets and variety of guns. Based on this combat mechanism, we provide giant boss battles where players must defeat bosses via co-op, and there are many other differentiating points, but those are the 2 to link to the most crucial. Will content roll out across all platforms simultaneously? Yes, he says, yes, that's right. With the First Descendant, we aim to provide the same build across all regions and platforms with cross-platform support. And says, will you be stress testing servers during an open beta? In the open beta, we'll be aiming for a full range of technical game testing, including stress testing, of course, and won't be doing artificial progression for this. We'll see it long natural. So there you go. So there's some information for you about First Descendant, right? And again, I'm having fun with it. You know, obviously, those of you that don't know, Nexon, they do a lot of stuff with microtransactions. This is not their first rodeo, right? My only gripe is that the first one is level 10 and the next one is level 22. If you go there at level, let's say 15 or 16, it still drops at level 10 gear. I have a question. See, I'm level 31, right? I'm 31, but I guess my ranking 6 is this mastery ranking, and I don't understand. The mastery ranking just makes me get more slots to put more mods in. Is that correct? Could be a game someone plays and then tells their friends to join and snowballs. Perhaps. Perhaps. My thing is, you know what I like about Starfield? Water said this yesterday during the stream. If I want to play Starfield, I can just log in and I can do a mission, or I can, steal some ships, or I can do my outpost. And I don't have that, like, time restraint. I can just play as long or as short as I want. Do as much or as little as I want. In this game, I hope there's not parts where I come in, I'm like, I want to do this. But then I hit a wall because I'm not a certain level. Or I'm not getting a certain piece of gear to drop. Or I'm not getting... or I have to wait 12 hours to make my character type of thing, right? I hope there's stuff to do in the game that keeps me going where I don't have to put a half hour in, right? That one mission that I want to do over a half hour. It actually tells you on the maps. It actually tells you on the maps, I think. Like, tells you... Go to Kingston. Right? This tells you 30 minutes or more. Right? So at least it tells you what it is. This one's 30 minutes or more. Right? This one tells you it's like 5 minutes or less. So I do like that they tell you like certain things so I can come into the game. That's a big component, right? If a person could just come in and go, oh, you know what, today I know what I'm doing. I want to, which they are. It seems like they are. Okay. So if I want to go to this section and I go, you know what, I want to get these tamed beasts. That's what I want. And I can just farm that, then that's fantastic. If there's targeted loot system, then that's fantastic. But if it's like sporadic random drop and things are happening, then that's a problem. Jesse says, I'll be playing the shit out of FD in beta and full release. Outriders is an IP I'd buy and revive if they had the mean. Star Wars says yes, and also allows certain crafting. Mastery confuses me. Still trying to figure it out. Yeah, I don't understand the mastering. I think the mastering, yeah, certain crafting. So when you go to mastery, it upgrades. Like I think it gives you more of this stuff. Right? I don't know what you master, how you go up or. It gives you more space to add more cards and stuff, does it not? Oh, that's another thing. You have the cards for yourself, you have the cards for your weapons. It's exactly like Warframe. Dupa says there will be, I guarantee. There will be what? I want to know where you get these. Just drop as well. Then there's places to upgrade. I forget where I have to go. Is it this? Oh, no. That's guns. This is, excuse me. Weapon level transmission. I don't know what this does. I haven't messed with this. Select a weapon for transmission. All right, let's do this one. You have no items to meet this condition. Okay. So if I do this, and then I grab that weapon level transmission. I can't do it because of... So this is leveling up your guns, individual. This is what it is. This is what it'll go to. Got it. Got it. All right, so that's the level up your weapons. Yeah, there's a lot of grind to this. A lot of grind to this. This is for the reactors. Where do you get these from? I don't have any enhancement parts. Okay. And what this guy does.
Modules will make you stronger.
Okay. Based on fire rate, 10% when firing firearm attacks, 0.66 stacks up to 20. I can go up to level 6, mastery. Okay. All right, that makes sense. So now I'm doing enhanced to the mental focus. Let me do something. Yeah, fuck it. Let's just do this. Let's learn. So I can go up to 5 right now. So now mental focus is leveled up. Interesting. Okay. You can level up those as well. And dismantle mods as well. Does it tell me how many I have? Click modules and dismantle them. Click valuable modules for dismantle. Where you check the tier and elemental level. Like if I have doubles, you know what I mean? General, let's go with general rounds. Fire enhancement. Okay, so I have multiples of these. If I click on one, enter it. Alright. Then you can farm these as well. Yeah, this is definitely very grindy. Sure. Sure, Silent. Well, you also want doubles and you put it on different people, right? But you can also... in Warframe, you can combine the doubles and whatnot. So I didn't know if you could do that here as well. Which it says, modules can be combined. Combine 4 modules to acquire 1 new module. Right? So let's do this. Let's go back to... This is exactly like Marvel Future Revolution, right? So we'll go to quality, and I'll take the toxic, right? So I take toxic 1, toxic 2, toxic 3, toxic 4. You could do this in Gotham Knights. You could do this in Marvel Future Revolution, right? And then you combine them. And now it makes 1. Now, which one did it turn into? Did it turn into this one? Or did it turn into this one? Now I would like to know... That's the one it turned into. So it turned to a blue. Yeah, so the 4 whites turned into a blue. Let's do it again. We'll do the electric enhancement, right? We only have 2 left. We'll combine these. Yeah. So it turned it in. So now if I have 4 blues, it'll turn into a purple. Right? So I have 4 blues. So if I put this one in, this one in, this one in, and this one, right? These are 4 blues. Rifle reinforcement. These are purple, right? Yeah. I have no rifle reinforcements. I only have the 2 left. Oh, wait a minute. I'm so confused right now. It didn't make it, though. The fuck did it go? Did I just literally waste... I'm so confused right now. This is all testing, right? If I take fire reinforcement, 4 of them, I only have 1 fire rate left. Blue. Oh, no, I have more than that. I should have 5 remaining, 6 remaining. Nimble fingers. So they turned into that? So blues turn into blues. They just turn into a higher tier? Or did it go into purple? No, I have no nimble fingers here. So does it stay... Chat, does it stay... If I take the same and combine them, 4 of them, does it just go back into... That seems kind of weird, doesn't it? Go back to nimble fingers here. -5. That's the same, though. Like, how do I know if this is different from this one, then? No, you're combining 4 similar ones at a chance to get another module type. So it doesn't matter which ones. So you're just taking 4. You're just taking 4. I could take 4 random ones. So if I take this one, this one, this one, this one. Fire specialist. I gotcha. But it's not an upgrade of that. This would be an upgrade to it. I would like to get Bunny.
Are you ready to be?
Oh. We have everything, huh? Now how do I do this? Go to research. So I have everything for her. So how do I get her to go? Research person. Okay, so where do I go? This?
Oh, the special human child. What do you need?
Okay, you get descendant or weapon through research. Okay. Various research items, check the recommended research list. Okay, select an item in the research list. Possible research items displayed. Give various descendants and weapons to research. Okay. Descendant. Research required. Okay. Now, if you boost research cost for 24. And I'm assuming it's 2 per hour. Right? And we have 300. So this is the credits that you're going to be purchasing then. Yeah, I see this being very popular. And you know what? I'm okay with it. Because I think there needs to be another person to come along to grab people that have been playing a game. Now, obviously, I think this is more in line with Warframe than it is Destiny. And Warframe's doing their job, right? They're constantly leveling up and making things better and adding more story. I think this is more of, and again, it's not a killer of anything. I do think this can live with the other ones, right? It's definitely going to live within the mix of, Warframe, Destiny 2, this one, more than Outriders. Outriders is a single player, you play it, you beat it, whatever, you kind of move on. Now, if Transformers Reactivate puts their hat in the ring with this, I kind of see that Transformers Reactivate could either be more successful or also close down sooner. Because this is an IP that nobody knows, where the IP for Transformers has to pay the extra money to keep that up and running. No PvP, so that type of player will not have a lot of interest. Right. Well, they could always add something, right? Be like a sparring area type of thing. Who knows what they're going to add? Very grindy, though, because if I need 10 of these or 100 of these, and it costs 600 a piece, then you have to grind for the gold, or you have the resources, and then you can, do whatever this is, or whatever this is. Let's go on, Torment. I do like how you can run into help randoms in the open world. Yeah, it's good that way. They've done a good job. I think they have something here. I do. I think they have something here. I mean, this is... It just feels like this is the tower. This is Destiny. I mean, very inspired by. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I just want to run around the tower. I just want to go into the map. I want to play it. Like, I want to go in and play it and give it more. It's got that pull. No go for me. I can't sit in orbit. Yeah, I feel like what I really like is this, right? Look how fast you can get to. Here, if I go here. I understand it's a load screen, and I'm not complaining about load screens. But I don't have to leave to go to orbit. Wait. Then go down. Right? It lasts for a week. We're gonna give it more of a shot. All right. On that note, load times, yeah, load screen 6 out of 10. Does it have ladders though? Does this game have ladders? We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for more Starfield. We'll be starting at 8 o'clock for more of the Captain's Log, Adventures of Jack Burton, to continue with our adventure inside of Starfield. That's 8 p.m. tonight. Don't forget, tomorrow we're back at 10 o'clock in the morning. If that's not something you want to watch, the Starfield content. We just got married in the game, which was pretty funny. Well, actually, we're not married yet. We proposed. We're not married yet. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning for some news. And then tomorrow evening, we're back with the podcast, Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week. And we rant along the way. Other than that, I do appreciate it very much. Make sure you hit that like button before you leave. If you don't like to hit the like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you don't like to hit the subscribe button, maybe you want to become a member as little as $5. It helps us out here. I do appreciate it very much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.